guys, I'm Josh from Layzee Acres. Thank you for tuning in. We are saving the world here, one trailer at a time. Today, we're going to go through a summarization of a travel trailer. That's not a real word, but we're going to pretend it is for today. Right, Cornell? Perfect. Basically, we're going to run water through a trailer and de-winterize it. So someone's winterized your trailer, whether it's you, whether it's a dealer has winterized your trailer. There's antifreeze in the system. If you're curious on how to do that, we've done that video as well, a winterizing video, so click that link down below if you're interested in that. But today we're going to de-winterize something. First question you need to ask is there antifreeze still in the system? Because when I winterize a trailer, I actually drain out the antifreeze after the fact so that there's not antifreeze left in the trailer. But if there is, this is how we're going to do it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up water to the outside of the trailer to our city water connection. We are not going to use the freshwater tank for this. We're going to use the city water connection because that's the most constant way, or reliable way at least, of de-winterizing. So I've taken a hose, I've hooked it up right here to our city water connection. Okay, I haven't turned the water on at this point, just hooked it up. Now we're going to go inside and we're going to make sure all the taps are off, because when you turn the water on, you don't want antifreeze just spraying all over the place, making a mess of your trailer. And sometimes those taps would ever get left on because you're winterizing, you drain out the antifreeze, yada yada yada. So we're gonna make sure those are all off. Bingo bango. All off. And if there's antifreeze in the lines, right, which there most likely is, you're gonna go to your water heater and make sure your water heater is still bypassed. What you don't want to have happen is force antifreeze into the tank, because it'll take a long time to get that antifreeze out of the tank, right? So make sure the water heater is still bypassed. This is a J-Flight 264, so the water heater's at the back left over here. We're going to check that now, visually making sure there is making sure that the water heater is still in bypass position. All right. Okay. Which it is. Stick your head in here, Will. Have a look at that. Basically, the valves are pointed in a way that the antifreeze or the water is going to bypass the tank. And now antifreeze is not going to get into the water heater itself. We're going to go inside the building, turn on the water, and come right back. Right on, guys. So we have gone inside, turned on the water. We should have running water in the trailer itself now. What we're going to experience is, as I turn on the tap, we're going to have some antifreeze come out first, and then it's going to start turning clear like water. Okay? So we're going to come to the kitchen sink, turn this on. Pink's going to run here for a minute or two. Okay? And now it's starting to turn clear, like you can see. Done. I do the hot side as well. Should have a little bit of pink for a bit. And it's going to turn clear here in a second. Basically, we're just getting rid of all that antifreeze. You can leave these running forever. Like, not forever, but just let this run for a long, long time, because the longer you let it run, the clearer the water will turn. Now it's turned clear again. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing to all my taps. So I've done the kitchen tap here. We're going to do the toilet. Once you've done the first tap, it should take a little shorter amount of time. Now keep in mind, the water heater is still in bypass mode. So once you've got rid of all the antifreeze, oh, we should do the outside shower as well. Let's do that. Sorry if this is a little shaky. We do have a gimbal coming next week, which is going to really elevate our videos.
Can't be shaky. It's Willie on the camera, bud.
It is Willie. What's the extension, Will?
167.
167 for William Kennedy.
No, Josh spraying antifreeze on his shoes.
Okay, antifreeze is out. All right, now, after we've got rid of all the antifreeze, we're then going to go to the water heater and flip the bypass off. So now it's going to force water to go in the bottom of the tank. Okay? Awesome, we'll come back. I forgot something. So before we go turn on the bypass or turn off the bypass again, you're going to need to make sure that the cap or the plug or whatever is in the water heater, because a lot of times when these things get winterized, the plug is left out. Whenever I winterize, I put it back in, but maybe it's out on yours. So we're gonna take this cap, thread this on. Making sure not to cross thread it. These plastic caps and plastic plugs are really, really easy to cross thread. And when you're doing this, you should be using like a pipe dope. This is just for demonstration purposes, so we're just gonna tighten this on as good as we can. Now, all right, so now we're gonna flip our bypass off, and basically the simple way to think about this is just flip the valves the opposite of how they are. If they're bypass, flip them the opposite. So we're gonna turn that one on. Can you hear that? The water is actually running into the bottom of the tank now, but because it's the plumbing system's pressurized, eventually it's just going to get up to enough pressure, and it's not actually going to fill up the hot water heater. So to do that, we have to turn on the hot water tap.
So to show them the valves.
Okay, show them the valves. So I flip those the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to come inside and turn on the hot water tap. And what's going to happen is we're going to get a little bit of water for a second, but that's going to start to be air. Okay? What's happening now is air and water are leaving the hot water line, and the water heater is filling up. Okay? This will take a couple minutes, so we're going to come back. Oh, see how that's turning into air now? So the water heater itself is filling up. This will take a couple minutes, so we'll come back then. Okay guys, so we left this tap open for about 2 minutes, and all the air got out of the water heater, and now we have water coming out. So at this time, I would probably leave these taps on for a couple minutes just to make sure all the antifreeze out, even like the little residual bit, just so you don't smell or taste that antifreeze at all. It's not poisonous, of course, but you don't want to have that going on. Let's imagine I've done that now. Now, you can take the time to de-winterize your water pump. Okay, so we've just used the city water connection at this point. We're going to find our water pump. Kevin asked, how do you find your water pump? And the easiest way to do that is to turn on the pump and listen for it.
Oh, I think it's right here, Josh.
It is right here. Great work, Will. So, most cases, and we talked about this in the winterizing video, there's a siphon kit. So right now this valve is pointing towards this open line.
Right.
Okay? So this is what you winterize with. But we're going to flip that back to the water tank. Okay? So see how the tank here is in the floor? So we have that in line there. Now we can take the time to disconnect the city water connection and fill up the freshwater tank, and then turn the water pump on. So we're going to do it now. Right on guys, so we're just going to take the water here off the city water. I'll probably get a little wet here.
Let's watch that.
I'm just too strong when I put it on, guys. There it is. Right.
That's a bit soft, we all know that.
So thread this out. Alright, we're gonna just...
Oh, kink in the hose, eh?
A little kink in the hose, bud. There we go. Bring this over here to our freshwater fill. Stick the hose in. Start filling up your tank. Now, if you're in a park or if you don't really use your water pump at all, you don't have to worry about this step. But if you're traveling around and you plan on using the water pump, this is the next step to do. You can see here there's a drain for the freshwater tank. We're going to turn that off because we don't want the water leaving that. And we're going to fill this up about halfway, about 20 gallons or so, and then we will come back. Right on, guys. So we're just filling up the freshwater tank right now. I've let it run for about a couple minutes, so we should have a good amount of water there. The reason I don't use the water pump to de-winterize is because you kind of over the winter you can lose your prime in the line there because there's a bunch of air in the line and stuff like that. So I always use the city water first, get the water right through the system, and then I try the water pump. Another quick note: it is important that you make sure you have water in the water heater before you try to light your water heater at all, and that's why I left that tap on for a couple minutes. all the air got out, turn the water. The issue is if you turn your water heater on and the tank is still full of air, it'll take a little bit of time, but you'll burn out your electric element. With an Atwood water heater, it would take like 8-9 hours to burn out your element. With a Suburban water heater, which is another popular, it takes like 2 minutes to burn out your element. So make sure you have water in the water heater before you try to let your water heater go or turn on electric. So we've got water in the freshwater tank. I'm going to come here to the water pump switch. We're going to turn it on. Okay. Now for it to find its prime, you kind of have to open up a tap, because the pressure downstream will prime the water pump. Can you hear it kind of throat down? Just kind of finding its prime there. Okay, so basically we've de-winterized the pump at this point, because there's probably a little bit of antifreeze in there, which you saw the pink come out. And as I shut the water off, the pump should shut off. If the pump continues to run after you shut the water off, it hasn't found its prime yet. It's just kind of like pumping a bunch of air or whatever. So if the pump's still running, it hasn't found its prime. The other thing is, if you're laying in bed and you hear the pump come on a couple times through the night or something like that, that means there's a leak somewhere. So you either have a tap cracked open or there's a small leak somewhere. So that's a problem. So the water pump should shut off and stay off until you go and ask for water again. Great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. That's basically the basics on how to summarize a trailer. If you guys have other ideas for videos you want us to do here at Layzee Acres, we don't know everything, but we maybe research it and figure it out and show it to you in video form. If you have those ideas, send those to sales@layzeeacres.com. You can call us if you have any questions at 705-833-2539. If you enjoyed the video, push the like button. And if you like more content like this, please subscribe. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.